going on, Jerome's? Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day out there to those who celebrate. It's time for another Vikings news dump. Watching the Wolves and Lakers right now. Hopefully it's a good morning by the time you're able to watch this. Also, some you're able to watch is the big news yesterday was ESPN, the magazine, which apparently is still a thing, releasing the photos, the recreation of the iconic Random Mouse and Kevin Garnett photo, which posters grace many walls of people my age, and it's here for the new generation. Now, I was worried that it would just be a facsimile of years past, but no. It's a beautiful homage, and it's gorgeous, man. Justin friggin' Jefferson, Anthony Edwards, two superstars who have planted their flag here in the great state of Minnesota with their respective teams. It's fantastic. Also, I didn't know that ESPN the magazine was still a thing. There you go. But one of the great pull quotes from the article is this. As Jefferson, a Pro Bowl wide receiver, and Edwards, an all-star shooting guard, rose to the top of their respective leagues, they formed a friendship and bond, signing huge contracts to spend their primes playing for two teams starved for championships. Edwards and Jefferson have emerged as Minnesota's next bastion of hope, and together they aspire to be tied to the city for the long haul. But now the pressure is on to deliver more than highlights and thrills. Quote, "I just want to bring a championship to Minnesota," Jefferson said. "The people are too good here. The fan base is too good. It's been a long time coming." I feel that. "If I can, I'm trying to be here for my whole career," Edwards says. "I ain't trying to go nowhere." But also Edwards did say if he wins a championship in the next 3 or 4 years, he's going to play in the NFL, which I don't know, man. I feel like Anthony Edwards, wrong photo. I feel like Anthony Edwards, so he's 6'4", he's 2 1/4. I feel like he's obviously got the speed and the quickness and the fluid hips. I feel like he could be a really good outside corner, press man type guy. Just be like, hey, pretend that you're guarding him man to man, full court press. There you go. We'll just go with that. But of course, since we've been successful, we as a fan base have been successful to get them. We basically bullied them to do this photo shoot. How about we do another one, right? Shoot or shoot. Heat check. Come on. Naz Reid and Will Reichard. I actually think that Will Reichard is the equivalent of Naz Reid, right? And Naz, undrafted out of LSU, worked his way up, became that dude. Will Reichard has become like a fan favorite. Like I want there to be Will Reichard towels that just showed up in random places around the world. That'd be glorious, man. Also, I want the Naz Reid towel to become the Washington state flag of college game day. Just everywhere. It's awesome, man. I love it. Something that I also love, well, I don't love it, but Vikings had estimated a Tuesday practice report, so they didn't have a full practice. They did some stretching and a glorified walkthrough. They had no practice on Monday, so that's just a simulated estimate. But they did have Blake Cashman outside. How about that DNP? He's going to be out for Thursday, but hopefully the mini bye, the 10 days between Rams and the Colts game, gets that toe where it needs to be because the Vikings need him. The Vikings need Cashman for that stretch run. 3 limited. Caleb Evans looking to come back from his hip injury. He did miss Sunday against the Lions. Trent Sherfield filled in as a punt gunner and did really damn good work there, man. Hockenson was limited. Now, I don't think that this precludes him from returning on Thursday, but it does raise our eyebrow just a little bit. Aaron Jones limited, but that's expected. Jones said that hamstring's not quite 100%, but he's respecting the medical team, and they're going to work through things. Plus, the mini bye, like Cashman, is greatly going to benefit Aaron Jones. 5 estimated to be full. Jones and Harrison Phillips with their respective shoulder issues. They were listed on the injury report last week. They did play against the Lions. Josh Oliver is fine. Theo Jackson, same thing. And also, Dalton Reisner, estimated to be full participant Monday and Tuesday. I think they're laying the groundwork for him to return on Thursday, potentially activated to the roster on Wednesday. So that's something to keep an eye on. And I think that it might be time. Yeah, I think that it might be time because you look at the Vikings pressures. That's the wrong one. All right, so you look at the Vikings pressures this season. Sam Darnold is the 5th most pressured quarterback in the league at 37% of his dropbacks. And offensive line-wise, it has been great, and there's been 2 positions that have been the worst. So Garrett Bradbury at center, I don't think they're going to move Bradbury, right? And Ed Ingram at right guard. And even though Ingram has been solid as a run blocker, there's just too many spots where there's hilarity, right? He's on the ground. He's throwing a defender into Darnold. He almost sacks Darnold. It's time for him to catch a breather, right? And what's disconcerting is that Bradbury and Ingram are responsible for 61% of the Vikings offensive line pressures allowed and also 6 of the 9 sacks. Not nice. Not ideal, right? And it could be a spot too. I mean, maybe it's a spot where if Ingram is replaced, Bradbury, who did well with Reisner on his left side last year, maybe he does well with him on his right side, especially with Brandel playing so competently at left guard. We'll see. But all isn't lost. I got a plan. So Ed Ingram has decent short area quickness. Not like great, but he's also not a liability. But also, he is a solid run blocker. And if he's a fullback, he doesn't have to be concerned about pass protection necessarily, right? So like 2-minute drill, they're not going to put Ed Ingram out there like they do with C.J. Ham, who's a very competent pass protector. But turn Ed Ingram into a fullback like Patrick Ricard or like the Fridge from way back in the day, and just go with that. And goal line, Ed Ingram at fullback, and then C.J. Ham at tailback. And let's go. Let's go. Or and Josh Oliver out there too. Come on, man. Let's just try to make the best of the situation. Vikings had a couple of rooster moves. The Vikings have signed Bo Richter. Hey, Bo Richter, preseason superstar, the UDFA out of Air Force, to the active roster, as well as they released veteran tight end Robert Tonyan. But what's great about veterans, they don't have to clear waivers. So he was re-signed to the practice squad immediately. I didn't see who they released from the practice squad. Doesn't really matter. But with Richter, so he'd already been elevated twice this season, played some special teams, a fistful of snaps on defense, and I like Richter's potential, man. I really do. And even though the Vikings have a very crowded edge rusher room, it's good to see Richter getting his flowers and getting some 53-man roster game checks. It's going to be good. Also good is the NFL trade deadline. Now, we talked about all the rumors and speculations. Oh, it's Stafford. Oh, it's Cooper Kupp. Traded to the Vikings. Probably not happening, right? And I know that people want to say, well, Stafford will give the Vikings a better chance than Darnold. Not necessarily, right? So the offense is similar, but it's not the same. Also, the chemistry and timing with the weapons, and it just, no. And also, Stafford, I mean, he's 36, he's going to be 37 in February, and Darnold is just scratching the surface of his prime. So I'm still going to roll with Darnold, although a bit interesting. Like, if the Rams had completely threw in the towel, like, what would have happened if the Vikings let Kurt go and then they traded for Stafford? What would this season look like? And still drafted McCarthy, by the way, because Stafford's not going to play forever. Kupp is interesting. So Kupp won the Triple Crown in 2021, leading the league in terms of receptions, yards, and touchdowns. Offensive Player of the Year, but hasn't played a healthy full season since. And he is old. And he's a slot-only guy. He doesn't have the explosiveness anymore, but he can still get open in the middle of the field and catch the ball. And he's reliable. Although, if Cooper Kupp caught that damn third down against the Lions, they beat them week 1, is what it is. But yeah, I'm out on Stafford and Kupp. It seems like a short-sighted move, but if you're going to make a move with the Rams, hey, after we beat the Rams' ass on Thursday night, Kyron Williams, Kobe Turner, just hop on board that Delta chartered flight. You know, the one with the big TJ Hawkinson logo on the side. Certainly could use them. Yeah. And speaking of the trade deadline, so Kwesi needs to be cooking for a myriad of reasons. Why be all in? Vikings are one of the best teams in the NFL right now. Like, despite the 2-point blowout loss to the Lions, the Vikings are still elite, and it does seem like they're a couple pieces away. Plus, the picks are going to be late anyway, 32 overall. The Vikings have $76 million cap space in 2025, so they could afford to take on a contract like Sexy Dexy Lawrence or Jeffrey Simmons or Quinnen Williams or whoever. Also, you already have your future franchise quarterback, so that's not a threat there. It's like, oh, we can't trade our first rounder because we have to use that trade up for a quarterback. No, you don't. We got him. We got some. Also, you have guys like Jefferson, Darisaw, Hawkinson, key parts of that defense under contract as well. Plus, maybe the most important one, just win one for Harrison frickin' Smith. And Harrison ends the Super Bowl with a strip sack of Mahomes, sealing the win for the Vikings, and then he just rides off into that sunset. Actually flies off because he's like a private pilot aficionado or something like that. Hobbyist. There you go. That's the word. So, Kwesi does have to be aggressive, and the dream is still there. And I know that Giants fans are prattling on. It's like, well, the Giants are never going to trade Dexter Lawrence. What are you talking about? They will if he demands a trade. right? And you could see the cracks showing. Like Dexter Lawrence in his post-game interviews, he's sick of losing, man. He doesn't care that he's putting up stats. He is sick of losing. So the second he demands a trade, 2 first-round picks and Ed Ingram. Sorry, fullback Ed Ingram. You guys need a fullback? Go ahead. Just like, and this goes into the all-in thing where this isn't like a rental situation. Like Dexter Lawrence is under contract, and the Vikings can afford him with the cap space. And Lawrence is only 26, and he's a team captain, and he could be a madman on the interior with Harrison Phillips and company for a long time. It'd be glorious. Yeah. Also glorious, and a guy who's also under contract and also just in his prime. John Grenard, among all defenders in Week 7 per PFF Vikings, 93.7 pass rush grade, first, 9 pressures, second, and a 47.4% win rate, which is good. It's pretty good. Got 1 sack. Set up the second AVG sack was this close to a game-changing strip sack in the middle of the game. It was just like frustrating, man. But Grenard, he's phenomenal. Absolutely great signing. Averaging $19 million a year. Just an absolute value signing by Kwesi and company. Yeah. And also, speaking of value, Justin freaking Jefferson, highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. Value, worth every single penny. Vikes fan page. Full clip of Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson talk about being on the verge of his breakout game. Quote, I'm definitely sick of having these 80 to 90-yard games. I definitely got to get over that hump of 100 yards. That's definitely my plan. Now, he didn't say this in the context of, I need my stats. I don't care that we're winning games. I need my stats. No, he's talking about in terms of, the Lions game offensively. They got to get something going. Second half against the Jets, second half against the Packers. If they can sustain drives, things are going to get a lot easier. And the whole thing about 3 touchdowns in the last 30 drives, it's not about Jefferson just getting stats and getting paid. He already got paid. We'll talk about winning games, talk about putting up numbers, talk about making things easier on the defense and everyone. And getting Jefferson the rock, that's a paramount. And I like the way they opened the second half. The first 3 plays is literally 3 passes and catches to Justin Jefferson. They need to do that consistently throughout the game. And Jefferson, once he get his, guess what? Once he starts getting bracketed and doubled and tripled, then Hawkinson, Addison, Naylor, Aaron Jones, everyone else is open. It's crazy how that works, right? Yeah. Also, speaking of how that works, so next offseason, even though the Vikings have a lot of defenders on 1-year deals, it sort of is what it is. Some guys will be back, some guys won't. But the Vikings, as of right now, are estimated to have the 6th most cap space in the league at $76 million, and that's with Jefferson and Darisaw and Hawkinson under contract. Plus, if they do turn the keys over to McCarthy, you have the greatest competitive advantage in team building right now, having your starting quarterback on his rookie deal. So the Vikings can definitely toss that money around and improve in different areas, whether it be defensive tackle, interior offensive line. I say they throw all the money at Trey Smith, right guard of the Chiefs. Just go ahead. The Pride of Tennessee, Rocky Top, as well as cornerback. So the Vikings can certainly get things done in that spot. Speaking of getting things done, Adam Thielen. Now, the Panthers are ass. Thank you. Thielen is also injured, but he's going to be coming back soon. And I think that the Panthers should do right by Thielen. I think that they should cut him before the trade deadline, because if he's cut after the trade deadline, he has to go through waivers. He'll probably go unclaimed, but you don't need to risk it. Just cut him before the trade deadline. And once Thielen gets healed up, baby, please come home. And he's not going to be wide receiver 1, 2, 3, or 4, but provide some leadership in that room. He already loves himself some J.J. McCarthy. Maybe he sticks around for another year. I don't know. But it's a special season, and I just feel like it's wrong that Thielen isn't part of it. Even though he made his decision, didn't take a pay cut, got paid in Carolina, said he's going to win Super Bowls with the Panthers. Not quite working out. But water on the bridge, come back home. That's all. Anyways, your thoughts are the thoughts. Vikings news dump on this beautiful Wednesday. You're the best you know what to do. Skol, production value.